a little less. Like, it's more like 40 minutes or so. Yes. I have to finish filming some of the videos. So that'll take another like half hour after this. And then like a 30-minute workout. And then groceries. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. How's everybody doing today? Good. That's good. I'm doing well too. You don't notice my background. I am not home. I am actually in Los Angeles visiting family. So that is where I'm at today, working remotely. And today is the last Go with the Flow workshop, you guys. It's crazy. We've gone through 5 workshops and we've broken down so many poses and gone through like all the foundations. So if this is your first workshop, know that there are many more that you can review at your own time on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions on where to find that, please let me know. But if you want to go back and review some of the other poses and the other ways that we broke it down, then it's right there for you. Let me ask you guys, do you hear the air conditioner? Like, is there like a weird noise behind me that I should turn off, or does the audio sound okay? No? Okay. Because it's hot in LA, you guys. So I would like the AC on, but I could do without it for a little bit. It's okay? Okay, good. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of minutes to settle in. If this is your first workshop, you don't need anything fancy. Just get into comfy clothes and grab a towel or a yoga mat if you have one. And we're going to do more restorative cooling down postures today. So nothing that's going to get you sweaty, but it is going to help with stretching, opening the hips and stuff like that too. So if anyone has any questions before we begin, you can let me know. We don't have a check-in, but we do have an evaluation at the end. So that is the main difference. And for this one, in case you've gone to any of our other workshops, is that I don't have a check-in. I just check on the Zoom info to see that you were here the whole time, and then I'll give you credit at the end for the giveaway and everything like that too. So I'm gonna give it about a minute or 2 more just to let anybody else come in. Awesome, can't wait to get started too. Victoria, today is a very nice, relaxing one. So hopefully it'll help you guys, you know, settle down throughout your day too. So for sure. But yes, how is everybody doing? I know Sanika said she was doing well. It's all right if you're not, by the way. You could tell me the truth. It could just be okay. Maybe hoping that yoga could help a little bit more. Ooh, cool. Was it an SPC event, Ashley? Potentially. AMA. Okay, cool. Cool. Very cool. Yes, we will be bringing on-campus events and everything back. Just for the summer, we decided to keep them on remote. So that's what we're doing. All right, I think that entry has slowed down. So in case you stepped away for a second, come back and we are going to get started. So welcome everybody to Go with the Flow, our last and final workshop in this 5-part series where I, your host and yoga teacher, is going to break down all of the poses throughout a regular Hatha Vinyasa flow. So we've gone through a couple of the other more strenuous strengthening postures, and now we're going to break down all of the cool down, feel good postures. So today what we are going to review is bridge, supta baddha kanasana, happy baby, half pigeon, waterfall, and savasana. And so today is going to be a really nice relaxing one, and I hope you learn some things that you can do towards the end of your day just for like a nice cool down, or just things to implement after you work out, after you do yoga. Yeah. So if this is your first time attending a workshop, I always say, please interrupt me if you have a question. If something does not feel good in your body, you need a modification, please unmute yourself and interrupt me, or you can put it in the chat and I will do my best to try and monitor that as we go through the workshop. So our first pose is bridge pose. The Sanskrit name is Setubandha Sarvangasana. So in Sanskrit, each word means something different, but that is the full pose. But just to keep it a little bit easier for all of us who English is our first language and everything, bridge pose, right? So bridge pose, as you can see in the photo, is a pose that helps to stretch the chest, neck, and spine. It is a heart-opening posture, and it also helps to reduce stress. It stimulates your abdominal organs, lungs, and your thyroid. Your thyroid is in your throat. And it is said to help reduce symptoms of anxiety, fatigue, backache, headache, and insomnia. Bridge pose is a wonderful pose to do before bed. It's truly a full body situation, but it focuses more on the heart, the lungs. It helps to reduce your blood pressure, which is why it is very useful for anxiety, right? So I'm going to break it down with you guys step by step and highlight or spotlight my video for everybody. And get on your backs. Sorry, I'm trying to orient myself. All right, so get on your mat, get on your backs. Plant your feet on the mat, tuck your tailbone under, and then slowly lower yourself all the way down to lay on your back. Keeping your feet planted, hip width distance, all right? So your feet are gonna stay on the floor the whole time. Bring your hands down towards your heels, and then gently pressing into your palms, but more so pressing into your feet, go ahead and lift your hips straight up, okay? Now from here, I want you to start drawing your shoulder blades underneath your heart space. So as you can see, what that does is that it really pushes up my chest and my belly. So I'm pulling up. Lastly, you can reach for your heels, even if it's just touching the heels. I want you to push into your heels to lift up your hips and protect your lower back. And then see how you can start to soften the breath. See if you can breathe mainly to your belly. And see if you can draw your weight back onto your shoulders even more. Awesome, take another full breath in. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, round all the way back down. Great job, go ahead and let your knees in, round back up. And so that was bridge pose. Hopefully you were able to hear me somewhat well. Tell me if there was anything you're missing. So bridge pose, like I said, is very much something that helps with heart opening. And sorry, I have so many tabs open. Helps with heart opening and is very relaxing. Like just with that, I feel much more relaxed, even though it can feel a little strenuous. The difference between bridge with yoga and bridge with like Pilates or any other exercise class is that we're focusing more on the lift of the upper body. In any other exercise class, they're focusing more on the squeezing of the butt so that you strengthen the glute and the hamstrings. So that's a different way of going about bridge, in case you were wondering. So 2 different ways to do bridge. No, do not lift up your heels like the picture. I don't know why that picture has that. I couldn't find a better picture of bridge on Canva. So no, I would not recommend doing that. That's a good question, Samantha. Thank you for asking. Cool, perfect. So our second pose is another extremely relaxing pose, and it comes sequentially after bridge pose, and that is supta baddha kanasana, or reclined bound angle pose. This is one of the ones that I always call the Sanskrit name just because it sounds nicer than reclined bound angle. I don't know. I just like to say supta baddha. Supta means on your back, and then baddha kanasana is the bound angle pose, cobbler's pose. So basically, it is a pose that helps to relieve any strain in the low back, while at the same time stretching your inner thighs, your groins, your knees even. It helps to improve circulation in general because we are opening up all of the your airways, first of all, and all of the other parts are just open out. As you can see, the knees, the arms, fingertips, your throat is open. So that is why it's really helpful for circulation. And this is really good when you're feeling stressed, when you have mild symptoms of depression, menstruation, menopause, anything having to do with like the belly, with your self-esteem, things like that. If you attended any chakra workshops, you know what I'm talking about, but if not, no worries, you don't need to get all of it. The whole point is that this is a super relaxing pose that also helps to improve the mobility and range of motion of your hips. So even if you want to take away all of the other stuff, it's still a great thing to do. So yes, chakra workshops will return in the fall. Great question. And in person, so yes. Cool. So let's do it. Let's do bound angle pose. So get back on your back on the mat. Again, tuck the tailbone under, roll all the way down. Bring your feet together to touch and your knees out wide. You have a couple of options for your hands. I like doing left hand over the heart, right hand over the belly. And I truly feel like I can stay here for hours. This is one of my favorite poses. And you might notice, right, that you feel a little bit strenuous or like strained in the hips. You might be lifting the knees up here, being like, oh my God, no. But let gravity do its work, okay? Maybe you even encourage the knees to drop a little bit more, let them come down. Your hands can also both come to the belly if you'd like, and then, or maybe come to your hips, whatever you feel like you need to support. So let's take a couple of breaths here. One more inhale. Awesome. As you exhale, bring your knees together to touch. Again, just rocking up to your seat. And that is supta baddha kanasana, supta baddha for short. And another great pose to do at bedtime or like at the end of your practice is when we normally do this one. All right, happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. Never call it that in class, I just call it happy baby, but Ananda Balasana. And so Balasana is child's pose. Bala is child. And then Ananda, I'm assuming, is on the back and happy, but I'm not quite sure. But Ananda Balasana is a Sanskrit term. And so as you can see in the photo, this is exactly what happy baby is. You're grabbing onto your feet while you're on your back. And this is a wonderful stretch for the groin, and it also massages out the lower back. So this is a wonderful one if you get frequent low back pain, potentially from sitting all day. This is a really great one to help to relieve the spine. And it's another one to help relieve stress. And I personally think that it does so because we feel a little silly sometimes when we do it. And it's important for us to just tap into that silliness sometimes and just feel it out and wiggle around and be a happy baby. So let's go ahead and do happy baby together. And again, staying on your back. Maybe you're still on your back from the first ones. That's totally fine. As long as you hear my explanations, that's all I care about. You're going to draw your knees in towards your chest, grab onto the outside edges of your feet, and then draw your knees closer towards your armpits. Start to maybe extend one knee, and then maybe you extend another. And notice how I rock from side to side, because this is what helps to massage out that low back. Sometimes you just need to do a happy baby. That's the way I feel. Like sometimes if I'm having a really stressful day, I just need to chill out in a happy baby for a while and, you know, kick out my legs and let my low back really press into the mat. Awesome. When you're ready, feet back together, rock back up to your seat, or you can stay down there because we're going to stay down here for the rest of the practice for the presentation. And that is your happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. Awesome. Continuing right along, we have half pigeon. And what we'll do is we'll do the right side for this demonstration. And then when I do the full flow together at the end, we'll just do the left side. So that way we can get the full half pigeon experience. Half pigeon, Ardha Kapalatasana. Again, I always call it half pigeon, but if you want to know the Sanskrit name, there it is. And basically half pigeon is the OG hip opener. It's my favorite hip opener. And if you are asking yourself, why do I need to open the hips? There's so many reasons, but physiologically, opening the hips is going to help with any low back pain, as well as any pain that occurs in the ankles, in the knees, in any other joints, right? Because our hips are one big joint. We got our knees, we got our ankles. And if we open the hips and they're all connected and you're going to prevent injury, low back, knees, everything like that. So yes, keep your hips open for physiological reasons, but it also emotionally and spiritually is really good to open the hips to help release. Hip openers are very much known to be like a little emotional for some people. Like a lot of people cry in half pigeon. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you feel emotional, it's totally normal. So half pigeon is really good to access deeper, half pigeon is really good at the end of your practice, not only to cool down, but because your body is already warmed up. So you're not going to like pull a hamstring or go too deep. You're already warmed up the muscles and everything in your body. So because we haven't practiced today, just be really gentle with yourself as we do this, and just listen to your body. Definitely don't go too deep into it. But when you do have a warmed up body, half pigeon is really good to go nice and deep, get a nice deep hip opener. So how are we going to come into half pigeon? We have many options, but I'm going to do it from down dog. So if you meet me back at your mats, and if you were laying down, I'm sorry, we're going right side up now. So maybe you start on your tabletop, tuck your toes under, find your downward facing dog. Start by drawing your right knee towards your right wrist. And then from there, you can start walking your toes over towards your left wrist. I'm going to show you this way so that you can see a little bit better. So my right knee comes to my right wrist, and then I bring my toes over to my left wrist. Yeah, so that's the front leg. Now, what's happening behind, to give you all the angles, what's happening to my left leg, right? So start by dropping the back knee, untucking the back toes. This might be where you are today, right? You might be up here, and that's totally fine. You have space under your hips, you have space on the floor. Ease yourself into it. That's the most important part, okay? From here, though, if you feel comfortable, you can come onto your forearms. And then also walk your left leg back, okay? So walking your left leg back is going to also open out the front of your left hip, otherwise known as your psoas. But we're getting a nice big deep stretch in the right glute and in the right hip as well, okay? If you're feeling really comfy here, you can even reach the hands in front of you, drop your forehead, okay? But take it slow, take your time. Breathe into this. We're gonna take 3 breaths just so you can wiggle around. The biggest thing is that I see people go onto their right butt cheek. I need you to sit on top, all right? That's where the work is. So make sure that you're pulling your left hip forward, right hip back. All right, take another breath in. Awesome, when you're ready, press into your palms. Now you can sit onto your right butt cheek, take a seat, shake it out. And we will do the left side in a bit when we go through the full flow. But any questions about half pigeon before I continue? Nada? All right, moving right along. We have waterfall and shoulder stand. So this is a restorative inversion. An inversion just means that your feet are above your heart, or that your heart is above your head. Now, you might be thinking, this looks like the heart is in line with the head. Yes, but that's why it's a restorative inversion. So inversions include things like forward fold, down dog. So anything that the head is under the heart space. And what this does is that it helps to slow your heart rate. And so inversions are really helpful when your heart rate is going really quickly. You need to relax, you need to relieve any tension. This is a really good one. So it helps to alleviate tension across the lower abdomen, and it can also reduce anxiety and relieve any menstrual related discomfort because we're relieving any downward pressure, right, onto those areas. So we're inverting all of the lower belly area, which means that gravity is not pushing down on it, and we're relieving some of that pain by doing that. So hopefully that makes sense why that happens. So we're gonna first do waterfall, and then only if you feel comfortable, we'll journey into shoulder stand. Shoulder stand is a little bit more advanced, and you can hurt yourself if you're not ready for it. So just try it. And if you don't feel ready, no worries. We can stick with shoulder stand, okay? So start on your back, come back onto your mat, start on your back. Lay all the way down. And take waterfall pose first. So waterfall, I'm pressing my low back into the mat, flexing my feet. Ankles are stacked over the knees are stacked over the hips. You can bring your hands to the sides and looking straight up. This can also be done on a wall. So putting your feet up on a wall is really relaxing as well here, because first of all, you don't have to worry about the alignment, and then you can also just like hang out. So I don't know if anyone is noticing how by just doing this, you already feel your blood pressure start to lower a little bit. Your heart rate slows. The power of an inversion, it's truly magical. So here's your waterfall. Hang out here if you'd like, or if you would like to try on shoulder stand, okay? So start by pressing your triceps into your mat, and you're gonna lift your hips up, grabbing onto your low back, okay? Support your low back the whole time. Make sure that your hips are stacked over your shoulders. So if you're down here, then you're putting a lot of strain on your arms, on your neck. Like that hurts me actually. So you want to lift yourself up so that your hips are in line with your shoulders, but your ankles are still in line with your hips, straight up. Support your low back, okay? Breathe here. One more inhale. All right, as you exhale, slowly roll all the way back down. Woo, that's fun. Hug your knees in, maybe take little circles. And we can try that on later as well when we go through the full flow. All right. Any questions about waterfall or shoulder stand? By the time I'm done with the full flow, you guys, I'm going to be like asleep. So waterfall, shoulder stands. All righty. Our last pose, not only for this workshop, but your final resting pose is Shavasana. Hence the bag and the t-shirt that I'm giving away with the cat on it that says, just here for the Shavasana. This is why. And so Shavasana is just laying down. Everything is on the floor. You are fully relaxed and it helps to cool the body. So Hatha yoga, otherwise known as like vinyasa flow, right, is related to the sun, warms up the body, heats everything up, right? So we finish with Shavasana so that we can completely cool the muscles and sort of like set them in place where they're at. It's like you're sealing in your practice, you know? So that's why it's so important to take Shavasana at the end of your practice, because it is the sealant for the practice. It helps you to just sort of like ziplock everything you just learned, that your body just learned, and like put it in place and actually move on with the rest of your day with that knowledge, both in your body and in your mind. So that's why it's important. A lot of people skip Shavasana because they're like, I don't have time. But Shavasana does not need to be more than a minute of your time. It can be a minute, it can be 20 minutes. It's however long you need your Shavasana to be that day. So let's go ahead and try it on. Shavasana is, yes, just laying down, but it's a little bit more than that. So I'm gonna guide you through some of the things to keep in mind. So we're laying down straight on our backs, extending your legs straight out in front of you. And personally, I like to bring my feet off the mat. I like to slightly angle out my legs because I find that it lets my toes drop down a little bit better, okay? Same thing with my arms, my hands. I bring them out to the sides of the mat and I slightly tuck my tailbone under and I soften the muscles in my face, relieving any tension in the jaw, softening the areas of the belly. And this is your Shavasana. To come out of your Shavasana, you can take a full body stretch and then roll over onto one side, take a fetal position. And then from there, slowly come all the way up to your seat. So that is your Shavasana. And now we are going to put everything together for our complete cool down. So let's do it. Back on your backs. And we'll finish with a nice longer Shavasana, I promise, all right? So coming back on your backs, plant your feet. We're going to start with bridge pose, all right? So pressing into your heels and into your palms slightly, go ahead and lift your hips up. Draw your shoulders under your heart space, puff up your chest, pulling your chest up towards the ceiling and lifting your hips even higher. I like to reach for my ankles, keeping my glutes engaged. Breathe here. Take another full breath in. Awesome. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, roll down the spine. Your feet come together to touch, knees out wide. Supta baddha kanasana. Bring one hand over the heart, one hand over the belly. And I'm breathing evenly through both palms. Take another inhale in. Awesome. As you exhale, soften and release. Bring both knees together to touch. Rock and roll. Or I'm sorry, happy baby. Almost forgot. Grab the outside edges of your feet. Draw your knees in towards your chest, towards your armpits. Rock from side to side. Kick out one knee and then the next. Stretch out the hamstrings. Maybe take a straddle, whatever feels good. Awesome. And then when you are ready, now start to rock and roll up the length of your spine. Ooh. Let's do one more just for good measure. Rock and roll. And then step back, find a downward facing dog. This time, let's do half pigeon on the left. So bring your left knee to your left wrist. And then parallel your shin to the top of your mat. Untuck your back toes, walk your back knee out. And then from here, you can stay up on your palms or you can slowly come onto your forearms, whatever you'd like. And usually we'd stay in half pigeon for quite some time, usually like about 10 breaths. So you can stay here for as long as you need to, but we're gonna take 3 more here, okay? Slowing down the heart rate, opening up the hips, letting anything come up that needs to come up, maybe emotionally. Take one more full breath in. Awesome. As you exhale, press into your palms, slowly come up and out. Take a seat. You're gonna tuck the tailbone under. Roll all the way to laying on your back. Taking waterfall or shoulder stand, your choice. I'm gonna hang out in waterfall today. Just letting yourself, you might even feel like your blood going the other way, inversion, sending the blood up to your heart space. I like to flex and point my feet here, just sort of like stretch out the ankles. Awesome. And then when you're ready, if you're in shoulder slant, slowly come back down to waterfall and then let your legs fall out in front of you, setting up for Shavasana, our final resting pose. And I want us all to stay here for at least 5 breaths. So see if you can soften the muscles in your face, soften the hands, the toes, close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And give yourself 5 breaths of silence, of rest. All right, when you're ready, slowly take a full body stretch, reach your hands up and overhead, maybe point toes. And hug your knees in towards your chest. Roll to one side. Softly press all the way back up to your seat. Hands come to heart center. Bring your thumb knuckles up to your third eye as we bow and we say Namaste. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for that short little restorative flow. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're awake. If you're not, no worries. So thank you so much for coming to our final Go with the Flow workshop. To receive credit for this workshop and to receive your giveaways, please make sure you fill out this evaluation. If you've attended one workshop, you are eligible for the tote bag. And if you have attended 3 or more